why being high value isn't for everyone. Okay? It's actually much easier just to be low value and to stay low value because it doesn't require any work. You don't need to push yourself. You don't need to grind. You don't need to find your path and purpose. You can just allow yourself to become a fat, lazy piece of shit, and nobody will care about you. Nobody will ever attack you. Nobody will ever come along and try to shame you for it. People will, for the most part, leave you alone, right? It's very easy to low value. However, when you decide you want to become high value, it's actually going to require work. Okay, it's going to require self-discipline. It's going to require responsibility. It's going to require risk-taking. It's going to require that you stand apart from the crowd. And it's going to require that you possess rugged individualism, that you have your own thoughts, ideas, values, beliefs, that you're not afraid to hide, that you're not afraid or embarrassed to share. Okay? And also, being high value is going to require that you rise up in society, which is going to be actually a byproduct of you being on your grind, you finding your path and purpose. You're going to systematically rise up in the world. And when you rise up in the world, one thing that will happen is people will attack you. Okay? People will not like it, especially people in your social circle. People who are your family and friends. They will get threatened by that. They will get jealous of it. They might get envious of it. Okay? The people who are closest to you will often be the ones who will try to bring you down because they will feel like you are trying to leave the bucket, right? Just like the crabs in the bucket theory. They will feel that you are trying to leave them behind. So understand, being high value isn't for everyone. Okay? This path is not for everyone. It is for the strong. It is for guys who have this itching inside of them, knowing that they can become better, become more than what they are, what they currently are. Okay, there's just this nagging inside of you that is just pushing on you, making you want to do more with your life, making you want to push yourself, making you want to get out there and take risk. Okay, because obviously being high value includes taking risk. Okay, whereas again, being low value, you don't have to do any of this. Okay, this is why most guys in society are just that. They're low value. They have nothing else to do with themselves, right? They don't push themselves. They don't care to. They lack self-discipline, and then they often lack self-accountability as well. These are the same type of guys that will finger point, blame everybody else for their woes except for themselves. They will never look in the mirror and blame themselves first, which is a trait of being a high-value guy. High-value guys will always blame themselves first, whereas low-value guys will never do that. They will always look around and point fingers at everybody else, right? They will always play the victim. They will always have an excuse for why I'm oppressed. You know, I wasn't born with privilege or anything like that. And it's like, cry me a freaking river, right? Cry me a fucking river with that shit. Whenever I see people like buying into the narrative of the mainstream, right? Especially the mainstream media, mainstream news, and what they're trying to implant in your head that, yo, you're being oppressed by this group. You can never make it. You're a victim, right? And you actually buy into that, you're weak, right? You're nothing but a weak little bitch. If you buy into that and you allow that to consume you and you allow that to become your narrative, your personal narrative, and your sole reason for why you can't rise up in the world, why you can't do anything with your life, especially in today's world, today's economy, where we have more self-made millionaires than ever before at any point in history. If you can't do it in today's economy, you'll never do it, and you're just a little bitch, okay? You're just a little bitch. You're weak. You're beta, okay? If you're busy complaining about everybody else, focused on what everybody else is doing, and judging everyone else before you even judge yourself, you're weak, you're beta, you're a loser, and I can't help you, right? But if you're going in the opposite direction, where you actually want to do something with your life, and you want to make something of your life, and you want to be high value, or maybe you're already high value, you know what I'm talking about. This requires work, right? I mean, getting yourself up in the morning to go to the gym, eat healthy, eat right. I mean, it's so easy just, to to not eat the chicken breast and salad every day, it's so easy to just grab a plate of nachos, right? It's so easy, instead of having, a protein shake, to just go get yourself a chocolate malt, right? It's so easy. But it's the choices that you make that make you high value. It's the risks that you take in life that make you high value. Okay, obviously calculated risk. You don't want to take stupid risk. You don't want to gamble, foolishly. You want to take calculated risks. So understand, being high value, it's just not for everyone. The more high value you become in the world, the more low value people are going to attack you, both male and female. Okay, but if you're a guy, especially other dudes are going to attack you. When they see you rising up, they're going to attack you. Okay, it's just part of the gig. You might think like, oh, I'm going to be high value, everybody's going to praise me. Like, no, you're going to get a lot of haters, right? You're going to get a lot of haters. And basically, the haters are just basically going to be, like I said, weak men who cannot do it themselves and are threatened by you. Because that's basically what haters are, right? Haters are basically dudes who are threatened by you. You are threatening basically their reality, their bubble. Right? You're causing their reality to burst when they see you rising up, somebody who they feel is beneath them, who's basically surpassing them in life. Their egos can't take that, so instead of, looking at you as an example and trying to rise themselves up, they just want to tear you down, right? And basically, when the guy does that, he's trapped in his feminine energy, okay? Because that's what feminine energy wants to do. Feminine energy wants to sabotage, wants to hate, wants to gossip. Feminine energy is a byproduct of estrogen, right? This is why you'll often see females sabotage each other and do shit like this to each other, whereas men don't do this type of stuff. Because when you're in your masculine energy, right? When you identify more with your masculine energy than your feminine energy, you're not going to do like petty shit like that. You're not going to try to tear other dudes down. You're not going to try to take shots at them. You're not going to try to throw shade at them, right? Not going to try to throw shade at them. Instead, you're going to praise them. You're going to be like, good for you, dude. Nice, pound, right? Pound, dog, right? Good for you. Now I got to do it for myself too. I want to rise up too. I want to surpass you, dude. I want to compete against you. That's what masculine energy will want you to do. So a lot of this too boils back to who you identify with more. Do you identify more with your mother or your father, right? Because when you identify more with your mother, say she primarily raised you, you will tend to be more emotional, throw more temper tantrums, you will tend to have more outbursts, right? Much like a child. But when you identify more with your father, you're not going to be doing that. Okay? You're not going to be doing that, because when you identify more with your father, you're going to take on more of his like masculine character traits. You're going to be more calm, you're going to be more reasonable, more logical. It's going to be very hard to get you to react, especially emotionally, and throw temper tantrums and throw fits and all this other stuff. You're not going to react that way. Okay, you're not going to react that way. So understand, being high value, it's just not for everybody. However, when you take that path to becoming a high value male, you will enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? All the hard work, all the risk taking you did, you're going to enjoy that, right? You're going to have a lot of rewards come your way. Might be dating beautiful women, you might be driving nicer cars, right? You might be living in a nicer house, a nicer neighborhood. You're going to definitely create a more high value social circle, that's for sure. I mean, that's something that happened to me. Like once I started to become successful in business, teaching guys pickup, I met a lot of high value guys doing that. But also, again, when I started my business, I started connecting with more entrepreneurs outside of game, outside of pickup, and my social circle looks very, very different than what it did when I was growing up, whereas my social circle was basically guys I was getting in trouble with, arrested with, right? I remember a few times SFPD would park outside my parents' house waiting for me to leave, waiting for me to do something. I look at my social circle back then, it is very different than how it is today. Just because I made the choice that, hey, I don't want to be a low value male. I don't want to continue on this trajectory. I want to do something with my life. I felt like I wanted to do bigger things. I wanted to be larger than life. You know, I wanted to have this lifestyle that was crazy with beautiful women, nice cars, and, you know, staying in nice places and living in a nice neighborhood and all this other stuff. I knew it was going to require a lot of work, a lot of risk taking, and a lot of self-resilience. It wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy, but I'm still on my grind. I'm still out there pounding the pavement. I'm still out there working, pushing myself every day, trying to become a better man, trying to become higher value, and I'm trying to teach this stuff to other guys as well. But just because you want to become high value or you want to go that route in life doesn't mean that your friends are automatically going to follow, or people in your social circle are automatically going to support you in that. Many of them won't, right? If you have any big ideas, a business you want to build, things like that, they will always give you reasons why it's not going to work. And, oh, don't bother doing it, just get a safe job. You know, why are you going to do that? You know, most people don't make it. You're just going to hear that spiel, right? And you know what? You just can't listen to it. You just can't listen to them, right? I have a thing where one of my earliest mentors, who was a self-made millionaire, right? One of my earliest mentors told me back in the day, he said, never listen to anybody who isn't doing better than you. He's like, if they're not doing better than you, don't take their advice. And you know what? He was right. He was right. So that's all I'm going to say for today's coaching video. Until next time, this is Matt Cross from Alpha Male Secrets. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new video here on my Alpha Male Secrets channel. And more importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's very important you subscribe. It helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. Okay, it tells YouTube you love my videos, you want me to upload more of them, so please make sure you subscribe to my channel.